Hi, welcome to the Sage's Cabin podcast. I'm your host, Rox Madeira. So grab a cup of tea and come and join me in the Sage's Cabin as we chat about everything from herbal gardening, herbal medicine, movement practices, wild food, postnatal and just general well-being. Hello, so today I'm talking to Margaret from the Divine Hag, and we're going to talk about aromatherapy and her aroma mist workshop that she's going to be hosting at the Wild Food Festival in September. Hope you enjoy.
Right.
Hi Margaret.
Hi Rox. Hi.
Nice to have you on the podcast.
Nice to be here, thank you.
And we're looking forward to having you at the Wild Food Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we could start with you just telling me a bit about you, your business and how you got into it.
Okay, I have done sort of aromatherapy things forever. I became interested in it over 20 years ago, like really interested in it. My youngest daughter's 21, and after I had her, I became very quickly a single parent, and it had quite difficult times. And at that point, I did Reiki, I did some crystal classes, etc. And over the 2 or 3 years after that, I became a Reiki master and crystal therapist. My main job, though, for 25 years was as a chartered surveyor. And I found increasingly over time that when I went into houses that had lots of fragrance in them, plugins and the things that go like that, I would come out feeling quite ill and get quite a severe migraine. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I had some very severe episodes that they thought I was having a stroke, quite a big stroke. And it turned out it wasn't. It's a very, not as rare as I would have thought actually, but it's a fairly rare type of migraine where I get paralysed down one side and it can look like a seizure and it can be quite difficult to handle. And it's brought on by fragrance. So that again sparked the whole aromatherapy thing. And I did a diploma in aromatherapy when I was off work, because I was off for a considerable period of time because I was a surveyor and I couldn't drive. So I was off for quite a long time, and I'm not a person that can lie about. So I took up something that had been a passion, and it was great because, okay, I think that people kind of sometimes misunderstand, and I think it's really important to understand that essential oils are still chemicals and they still do things to your body. It's just that they're natural chemicals, they're not synthetic, and it's something to do with the synthetic chemical that triggers me and makes me ill. People can still have severe reactions to essential oils, and I think that it's really important to always sort of bear that in mind and have the sort of chemistry in your head when you're doing things and really think about it. So that's, one of the kind of less esoteric parts of it for me. I'm quite kind of grounded with it as well as with all of the things. Going in and out of houses and doing surveying became increasingly untenable, and I decided to found the company. And I'd found through time that using blends of essential oils was extremely useful for me personally, for things like sleeping, because I was a complete night owl and an insomniac, and I didn't respond well to lavender, and I realized that quite a lot of people don't respond well to lavender. So I made my Bliss Sleep doesn't have a lot of lavender in it, and I think it's really good for people to explore things and by not just go to the go-to, see how it works, and if it's not working for you, explore different things. So that's how that kind of arose. My Moontime spray is to help with PMT and help calm you down, and the pause blend was as a result of not being able to get any help with the menopause because of my medical history. So I made a blend that can cool down, calm down, help with anxiety and stress of the menopause, because I think that a lot of things aren't really explained very well, and people think that that time of life is just hot flushing. It's not. It makes people very, very anxious. So that was originally called menopause relief, but then I realised that that was kind of maybe blocking some people out from having that scent and having that time of just being able to stop and relax and use it to pause. So I renamed it Pause, so as it's not as prescriptive for women, so as men can also enjoy that scent without feeling, oh, it's got menopause on it. So
yeah,
you know, or it can be given to somebody without it being, this is for your menopause. You know,
yeah. And your business is mostly focused on women's products, is that right?
Yeah, yes, it still is, you know, like the whole moontime thing. I like the whole divine goddess thing. The logo is the triplet, it's the maiden, mother and hag. So it's the 3 ages of women. You know, not every woman is a mother, but we all go through the ages. So it's the 3 ages of women coming together. And also I think it's important to take the things like the magic that the earth gives us and look to the past and look to the wisdom. And being quite old myself, I do like to kind of think, you know, older people, we've done a lot and we do have a bit of wisdom, and it's nice to pass that on. So I kind of embrace my hagness. You know, a lot of people don't call me my name, they just call me the hag, and I'm completely at peace with that. You know, it doesn't bother me one tiny bit.
And so why do you think that aromatherapy like works for so many people? I mean, obviously it doesn't work for everybody, but
yeah, it doesn't work for everybody. I think that it is that whole thing that it is chemicals. You know, you are taking medicine. You're taking medicine that smells good, and it affects your limbic system. It affects you on a very base level. So it's going in through your system, and I'm sure that everybody has the sensation of they'll smell something in passing and it'll remind them of their mother or the gran or a place that they've been, and it's comforting. You know, it's that transitory, so it's very, very deep. And, you know, things like geranium. Geranium has been, you know, there's actual studies showing that it can reduce the mother's heart rate during labour. So it can calm, it does actually, you know, there's medical studies showing that it does actually calm you down. There were studies in, I think it was Japan, the latest one on rosemary and peppermint. It does help you concentrate, it does help with your memory. So that does really, you know, and those are things that are in both of my concentration, my study blends, and in the menopause blends. So because they're things that kind of cool you down and calm you down. So they do act actually, you know, in a chemical way. It's not just as airy-fairy as it can appear.
Yeah, that's quite often people think that, isn't it? That they just kind of think, oh, it's just an airy-fairy thing that doesn't really work.
Yeah. I mean, I do
the chemical component.
Forget the chemical components. I mean, like yesterday I was doing some new candle blends, and I did, and you know, I do kind of still do the whole kind of chanting and bringing it all together and then just feeling it. But prior to all that, I've done a lot of study and a lot of looking at it and thinking about, will that go with that, and how does that work, and what balance will that need? And then at the end, when I'm bringing it together, I do get quite kind of, you know, hypnotized by it. But I don't just do the airy fairy bit, I do all the other bit too, because there's things you shouldn't use in pregnancy. You shouldn't really use clary sage in pregnancy, especially early pregnancy, because it can induce some contractions. So it's not a good thing to use. So there should always be, a warning not to buy that if you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant, just because obviously that's not a good thing. However, it's a very useful thing in labour or when you're trying to go into labour. So, it's that having the knowledge to know that some things you shouldn't use, that you shouldn't use certain things around dogs. You should use things like frankincense and chamomile and things around dogs because they're very gentle and calming, and it's quite sort of similar to what you would use with babies. So, you wouldn't use them like ginger.
Yeah.
It's a very obvious one.
And so I was going to ask you, actually, how do you come up with your blends?
I think about what I want the blend to do. And then it is to do quite often with kind of the energetic levels of it and what it has to do and the various, for instance, the whole menopause and all the different layers of that and the things that would help with that. And then I do still, even though I know about them, I still do that research, and it is just slight imposter syndrome. I think I just quite like to make absolutely certain. So I make absolutely certain I've got all my notes and things on each of the components. And then the last bit is the putting it together. And that's the more kind of alchemaic bit. That's the bit where you go like one drop of that and, and kind of poof about the good, no, that's not right, and try a drop of that. And that bit's kind of fun if you want. It's the fun bit. But I do all the background stuff first. So, and the, things like bath salts, balms, beard oils, because beard oils are actually sitting waiting for labels to come out. All those things have actually also got to go through cosmetic compliance. So they all go off to, all the recipes go off to a lab and they're analysed, and then they'll come back and say, yeah, that's okay, or this has got too much geraniol or eugenol or whatever on it, and can you use a different oil, or can you change the amounts? So, there's all that bit gets done as well.
Okay. So what do you think makes your company unique?
Me? What makes it unique? The fact that it's so earthy, the fact that, it is earth wisdom, and there is so much research and so much love in it. I had a lady a couple of days ago actually send me a little Instagram message saying that she'd run out of her pause spray and she was really missing it, and that every product that she's had, she can feel the love, the knowledge and the love that's gone into it. And I think, not to disrespect anybody else that makes things like this, but it is age and knowledge and love that goes into every single thing that comes out.
And it's small batches as well, isn't it? So that kind of makes a difference, I think, doesn't it?
It does. It is small batches. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I do manufacture for somebody and I can do 500 of their units a day. Wow. So, but that's still, in the overall scheme of things, that's small. Yeah. Small. It feels big when you're doing it, but it is a small batch. And I'd quite like it to stay that way, to not be more than 500 or so a day to be made, because then you can still put the love in.
And are you like dropping the oils in for each of those 500?
What I do is I've got they are made 50 at a time in a hopper. They go into it's a hand machine. It's not. So the water goes in, the oil mix goes in, because I've got the recipe, so the oil mix goes in. And they also started out on a bottle, so it was this is how much goes into a bottle, and then you obviously, a bottle's 50 or 100 mils, you obviously multiply it up, and then that all goes in, all gets mixed and mixed and mixed, and then you pull, it's gauged to the right amount, so you just pull the lever and fill the bottles.
Okay.
So, but it is all it's all still very tactile. I think that's one of the things that I love most about it, is everything is really tactile. You feel it all, and big batch, even sort of large batches of bath salts, when you're making a couple of 100 bags of bath salts, it's still hand mixed, and it is, it's all very
nice. And where do you sell your products? Have you got a shop in Glasgow, or are they online? No,
I sell online. Online, and it's in places in Glasgow like Roots and Fruits.
Okay.
Yeah. So downstairs Design Quirk, couple of places in London. Yeah, it's sort of, I have a wholesaler who buys my stuff, and so that's why I can't say definitively where it's all sold, because I was doing a festival one day, and a woman came up and said, "Oh, I just bought your stuff in Ballymena or somewhere in Ireland." And I'm thinking, it couldn't have been mine. And then she said, "Oh, it was," and suddenly realised, oh, it's it's a wholesaler. And every now and again there's a little thing comes on Instagram that somebody's doing a gifting box with my products in it. I'm going, but where did they come from? Oh, it's the wholesaler is obviously selling them on. So it's hard for me to gauge exactly where the products go from the wholesaler.
And just a personal question, do you have like not a pregnancy, but like a labour blend?
I've done a labour blend, and I'm off for a couple of weeks, but when I come back I'm meeting a doula. We're going to do a collaboration to launch that.
Oh, great.
So
but can we be ready by November?
Oh yeah. It's been, do you know what? It's actually been ready for quite a while. I take ages from when I do something to actually getting it out. It's like I just pat it every now and again and say, right, yeah, that's there. That'll be okay. So yeah, there is a labour blend.
Great. So you're coming to the festival, Scottish Wild Food Festival, and you're going to be offering a workshop. So could you tell us a bit about that?
Well, I'll be doing 2, I believe. So we're doing a mini one where people will, I've got little mini essential oils where they can have their own and smell them and then blend something with them. And they'll have about 5 of those, and they'll get a sheet and they'll learn a little bit about each of these oils. And there'll be things like lavender and lemon, chamomile. They'll be very gentle, and there'll be things that they can mix together, and they can decide, what kind of amounts are good for them. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm trying to remember because I did one recently, and it's rosemary, lemon, lavender, and chamomile. And just very gentle things that anyone can actually be there and smell. The other workshop it'll be similar, but we'll have a bigger amount and more exotic oils that you wouldn't normally have. Okay. So things like carnation and damiana, and things that you don't normally just pick up in wherever your Holland and Barrett or whatever.
And your fragrances are organic as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I also distill the water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I have to say, the scum that I have to clean off the inside of the distillation machine makes me worry. So I use Glasgow tap water, which is clean. It's not awful. And then I distill that because distilled water is better for aromatherapy blends, and you can buy it in big plastic canisters. but I'm very aware that the plastic can leach over time. So that's why I do the distillation daily. And then I pour it into the plastic canister because, it's only in there for a couple of days. It's not in there for a long time because I hate the thought of it being tainted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everything's very pure. And I do wear gloves. I wear gloves not only to sort of protect everything, but also because I got a bit fed up of eating essential oils, which isn't something I would recommend. But when you go home and your dinner tastes of eucalyptus, it's not the best.
No. And I think it when people come make the blends at the workshop, they're going to take something away with them as well, the blend that they've made.
Yes, absolutely. So they'll get a bottle of some distilled, they'll get the distilled water in their bottle, and then they can make their blends and take them home. And they'll get a little label to put on it as well, so they can call their blend what they want, and they can write down what they've put in it. And then they can recreate it at home.
Yeah, because I guess if you get that kind of skill of how to blend it, you can kind of go away and do it yourself as well.
And people like to be able to do that. They like to have their own. It's the same as having your own perfume. They like to have their own smell, because even without any kind of, your own home's got a smell that you're aware of or not.
You don't notice it until you go away and come in, and then you come in after a few days. Like,
oh, the damp's back.
Once you just smell like oil, because we've got an oil tanker, so you come back and you're like, oh man, it really smells of oil in here. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I slept over in my daughter's boat one night, and then the next day I was like, oh, I smell of the boat. Maybe I'll bring a spray next time.
Also, different people are attracted to different smells, aren't you? I mean, there's some people who love lavender, for example, and other people hate it. So it's very personal.
It's very personal, and you can be attracted to different things at different times, depending on hormone level, depending on your mood. And it's like all of these kind of things, you are quite often very attracted to what you need.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, it's funny when you're talking about that, and when you were talking about in pregnancy and clary sage, and I'm not smelling it, but I'm just really attracted to clary sage at the moment. You can't have that one.
No, leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Be gone with that. Go and get something like frankincense or chamomile or something like that. And
it's just been in my cupboard waiting for when I go into labour. I'm like, right, it's then.
Waiting for when you get to 40 minutes and just come out.
So can you tell me how people can get in contact with you and get hold of your products and everything?
www.thedivinehag.co.uk. If people have any questions, they can email to info@thedivinehag. That's it. It's as simple as that. I'm quite happy. People can DM me on Instagram or message me on Facebook, and I'm quite happy to answer any questions. I always do that.
Great, that's great. So thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you at the festival.
See you then.
So tickets are on sale now for the Scottish Wild Food Festival at Tirnanog near Drimmen, Loch Lomond, and you can book in with the Divine Hag Margaret's workshop Aromatherapy. Tickets are on sale now as well, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. So if you did, please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you at the festival in September.